Alright, today we're going to be starting Unit 7, Radical Functions and Rational Exponents. We'll be doing Section 6-1. This is Roots and Radical Expressions. Your objectives are that you will be able to find nth roots. So, corresponding to every power, there is a root. For example, just as there are squares, second powers, there are square roots. Just as there are cubes, third powers, there are cube roots, and so on. 5 squared is 25, we know that. So that means that 5 is a square root of 25. 5 cubed is 125. 5 is a cube root of 125. And so on. You could say that 5 is a fourth root of 625, and it's a fifth root of 3,125. So, we're going to try to find real numbered roots here. Now we only want the real numbers. First, you're going to look at this first example, letter A. The 3 here is called our index. That means we're taking the third root. And negative 8 is the radicand. That's what we're taking the third root of. So, what this question is asking you to do is figure out what number to the third power is equal to negative 8. What number to the third power is equal to negative 8? Well, you could try to do 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, but we want negative 8. So really what we need to do is negative 2 times negative 2, that's positive 4, times another negative 2, that's going to be equal to negative 8. So that means that the third root of negative 8 is negative 2. Let's try the same thing for 0.04. So this time we're taking the square root. When there's not an index number there, you assume it's a 2, so it's the square root. What number raised to the second power is equal to 0.04? There are two answers in this case. So you could do 0.2 times 0.2 is equal to 0.04, or you could do negative 0.2 times negative 0.2, and you still get 0.04. So that means that this question has two answers. Your two answers are plus or minus 0.2. Letter C is a little bit different. So in letter C, you're taking the fourth root of negative 1. So what number to the fourth power is equal to negative 1? So first we try 1. 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. Well, that's equal to just 1, but we want negative 1. So let's try negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1. Negative times negative is a positive, times a negative is negative, times a negative is positive, so it's still positive 1. So there's no possible way we could raise something to the fourth power and get negative 1. So that means that there are no solutions, no real solutions to that answer. Finally, in letter D, you need to simplify before you take the square root. So negative 2 raised to the second power is really what? 4. So I'm really taking the square root of 4, which we know can be plus or minus 2. Right now I want you to pause the video and try each of these 4 problems at the bottom. And here are the answers to those 4 problems. Okay, so now we're going to be simplifying when you have a variable in the radical expression. So the first thing that you need to do is think about what the index is, and we want to make things look like the index. Since there's no index there, we know it's really a 2. So what I'm going to do, we're taking the square root. I want to make everything something squared. So 16 is really 4 squared, and x to the 8th is really x to the 4th squared, right? So now if I'm going to take the square root of something squared, that's pretty easy. That means it's just going to be 4 times x to the 4th, and that would be your answer. In the next one, we're taking the cube root. Our index is 3, so I want to make everything look like in terms of something being cubed. So now I'm going to have a squared to the third and b to the third to the third. So this is really, you can check to make sure they're really meaning the same thing. Oops, I should have put a 3 here. A squared raised to the third power is really a to the sixth, and then b cubed to the third power is really b to the ninth, so those still mean the same thing, but now I can take this third root pretty easily, and we know that it's going to be a squared times b cubed. In this last one, you're taking the fourth root. Our index is 4, so I'm going to rewrite the 4 there so I don't forget. I want to make everything look like it's being raised to the fourth power. So x squared to the fourth, and y cubed to the fourth, and that's the same as x squared y to the third after I take the fourth root. So now I want you to pause the video again and try a, b, and c here at the bottom. And there are your answers when you're ready. 9x squared, a to the fourth, b to the fifth, x cubed, y to the fourth. And finally, we're going to be doing some word problems with these. So in order to do word problems, it's going to be sort of like a real-life thing. And this is a real-life question. This is what some teachers do in order to adjust grades. So some teachers adjust test scores when a test is difficult. One teacher's formula for adjusting scores is a equals 10 root r, where a is the adjusted score and r is the raw score. If the raw score on one test ranges from 36 to 90, what is the range of the adjusted score? So you're going to start with the formula. We know the formula is a equals 10 root r. You're going to start with the low end of the range first. So the low end is going to be a equals 10 times the square root of the low raw score, which is 36. So this one's pretty easy. 10, the square root of 36 is plus or minus 6, remember, but in a situation, in a real life situation, you have to think about which number makes sense. The negative number wouldn't make sense because I'm hoping that most of you will never get a negative score on a test. So you're going to use the positive number and you'll get a is equal to 60. So that's the new low score. That's the adjusted low score. So then you need to do the high range. So the adjusted score is going to be equal to 10 times the square root of 90. And now we don't have a perfect square. So again, we're going to have plus or minus for an answer, but we only want the positive answer. So you can use your calculator to do this, and you're going to get 10 times about 9.5, you round. And 10 times 9.5 is about 95. So our new scores, so this was the old range, 36 to 90. Our new range is 60 to 95. And that's how you answer word problem questions using a radical expression. And finally, I want you just to try these 6 problems, check your answers. Pause the video here. I'm going to put the answers up in just a second. Alright, and here are your answers for the lesson check. This is going to be the end of the video, and if you actually watched this whole video and took all the notes, put a little star in the upper left-hand corner of your paper. I'm going to be checking your notes tomorrow in class.